Just like our high here is supposed to be 97. Well, according to our local thermometer, it's already 100 degrees. So.
Yeah, hard. I think it changes a lot from, you know.
Oh, it does, from place to place.
Yeah.
So any question about anything around here? So here's the reality, is the Hisatsinom culture, we've called it the Sinagua culture for more than 100 years. We've now been asked to call it the Hisatsinom by their descendants.
How's it pronounced?
Hisatsinom.
Okay.
So Hisatsinom is a Hopi word meaning those who live long ago. And so we've been asked to call them the Hisatsinom. And the Hisatsinom culture were very prolific, very industrious. And in the Verde Valley, the 714 square mile oasis, they built more than 400 dwellings. 20 of them, well, a little bit more than 20, are pueblos, like this one here. And then I don't even know how many cliff dwellings and cave dwellings they have, but many, many.
Yeah.
But there's quite a lot of them that are little field houses or just one-room type family houses. There's 3 of them over on that ridge line, and there's one over here underneath one of the modern homes.
Oh, wow.
And they've never been excavated because it takes money to excavate it. No expectation that any of those smaller places will ever be excavated.
So the the far ridge
so
line?
Starting over here, it's actually in our monument lands. Our monument actually extends over the ridge line.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I'm not exactly sure. There's a fence out there over on the other side of the ridge line that says, hey, this is the enclosure of the monument.
Well, that's kind of interesting.
And so part of that over here is part of the Dead Horse Ranch State Park. But then the other part is part of the National Monument up here on the ridge line.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of dwellings. There's about 10 different dwellings around the base of this hill, not considered part of the pueblo. But the pueblo has 110 rooms, with 15 of them being second-story rooms.
Wow, that's a lot.
Pretty amazing. We only built up that one observation deck, which represents 2 of the 15 second-story rooms.
I was going to say, like, has any of this been reconstructed?
It's all been reconstructed except the back walls of these 2 rooms, and the one wall as you walked in the Citadel room up the stair steps, you walk in the door, there's that 3/4 high wall.
Yeah, with the posts coming out of it.
What the excavators did is they put mud on both sides to keep it standing, and that wall was so fragile they put 2 upright posts to help keep it standing.
Oh, okay.
So that wall was built in 1050.
Wow.
These 2 walls were built in 1380. So there's 300 years difference between the walls.
Wow.
Pretty amazing. We're grateful we even have 3 walls that are original.
Yeah, I would
All
think.
the rest of them are built on the original floor plan, original layout. So.
And is there cement holding these together? Is that
Well,
the primary?
in the 1930s, when they went to do this, they were trying to do it like the natives did, where they just used mud and clay from the river. But they realized they only had 3 years to do it in, and they didn't have the expertise. So it wasn't working for them. So they went to modern cement. And so they did that, but we have a restoration crew that eventually, that wherever they needed to, they'll scrape out the old cement and they'll put in earth-based mortars.
Oh, that's nice.
So more and more, we're getting more and more earth-based mortars in there. But for the most part, you still see the modern mortar on top and modern mortar here and there.
Oh, that's very neat.
Yeah, but eventually it'll go back to looking more like it did when the Hisatsinom lived here.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I had a quick question for you,
Sure.
too. That big pile of crap over there?
That black
that
up there, that's slag from the smelter. So you see the brown smokestack
Right.
in front of the foothills, the little brown smokestack.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much all that's left of the Clarkdale smelter. Okay. And so they bring the ore from Jerome up there via railroad car, drop the ore off, and it would get processed down here in Clarkdale. And so even though the mine stopped producing ore in 1939, they had so much ore left over that the smelters didn't close until the late 1940s, 47, 48.
And does that have any environmental impact?
It has had some, smog in particular, but that's kind of cleared up. But you look at this 116 acres of flatlands.
Yeah.
That used to be rolling hills. When the Hisatsinom lived here, that was rolling hills. And then in the late 1890s, the mines came in and leveled off 116 acres of land to make it their wet waste pond, their tailing pond.
Oh, gosh.
So for more than 100 years, that was a tailings pond.
So that whole area is
And then
going to
in 2000, Phelps Dodge Mining Corporation, who owned the land, they wanted to sell it. But the Superfund stepped in, and you can't sell that till you mitigate all the poisons. So they went ahead and capped it all off, underdug it and everything, did a lot of scientific studies of it, and now it's all capped off and whatnot. They tell me in 50 years they'll be building houses on it.
Wow.
But they found very little of poisoning from the wet waste into the waters.
Well, that's good.
Which was surprised all of the scientists that were working on the project.
I drove right by it yesterday. It didn't look that bad from here, but when you're right next to it, that's quite
it's a slag pile.